Hey there, Fit Fam. Welcome to the only podcast where we're breaking the mold and rewriting the rules. I'm here to debunk the myths, spill the tea, and serve a hefty dose of reality. No matter where you're at in your journey, we've got something for everybody. So buckle up because we're about to unleash the basics in the most unapologetic way possible. From shedding pounds to embracing your inner badass, I'm here to remind you that skinny is so last season and the basics are anything but boring. So grab your favorite piece of protein and your water bottle and get ready to be empowered, entertained, and educated because being a basics bitch has never looked this good. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Don't Call Me Skinny. I hope you guys had a great weekend. You'll notice there was no Muscle Monday or a Monday podcast at all this week. Last week was a whirlwind. I'm just going to say it like it is. It was a whirlwind. It was kind of heavy, kind of an emotional week for me. But I also learned some things about myself this last weekend going into the beginning of this week that actually is going to be very beneficial. So sometimes if we can just shift how we look at things a little bit, then we can, hopefully learn from those things that make life a little bit harder, which we're going to talk a little bit about today. As most of you know, there was a open and shut door, if you will, enrollment on Fat Loss Basics originally. That is what I had planned to do. However, I'm going to go ahead and roll open Fat Loss Basics. We're just going to almost let it be a continuous thing. So those of you that are already in Fat Loss Basics, you are solid. You don't need to do anything differently. However, if you thought, I should really join this, or I can't wait till an open enrollment comes, you don't have to wait. You can hop in now. All you got to do is send me a message, or I don't know if the link in the show notes is going to be ready yet today. I just don't know. If it is there, you can click on it. If it's not there, just note that all you got to do is send me a real fast message, and I would be happy to have a conversation with you about what Fat Loss Basics could look like for you. And this is kind of a little bit what we're going to talk about today. When I get on calls with women, when I talk about what we do, I'm very explicit in the fact that this isn't the norm. You're going to get into this container and it is going to feel very different. It is going to feel very slow. It is going to feel very like you're kind of having to do some work. And this is the why, is because what I do is not these quick fixes, these fad diet trends, these rando fucking things. Okay. What we do and the work that we do in this container requires you to show up for yourself. It requires you to put yourself first. It requires you to take time, effort, and energy to meet me halfway, okay? But this is what I know. I know that women are used to just buying into some bullshit, getting whatever box shipped to them at their fucking house, and then lo and behold, it doesn't work because there's no accountability. Right? There's no group. There's no coach that tells you what to do. You might have a coach that brought you in, quote unquote. I'm using air quotes if you're watching on the video, but none of these things are really you just kind of get it and you're just expected to just do it, right? You're just expected to just know what you're supposed to do with these wraps you're supposed to rub around your belly, or these pills that you're supposed to take, or this soy food that gets delivered to your door every day. You just eat it 3 times a day and starve yourself. This is what we do, right? And so when you come into a container with me, my containers actually require you to show the fuck up. I am not going to sit here and pretend that what we do here isn't work. That what we do might not sometimes be overwhelming. Well, Sarah, I don't want another container that's overwhelming. Well, just, I don't know, sit at home on your couch then every day, because life requires you to show up in general. Would you tell your boss the same thing? Sorry, I'm not going to show up today. Just don't fucking feel like it, and expect to get paid? No. Right? But yet a lot of us don't show up for our health, and we just expect that it should just happen. It should just work. It should just magically do the thing. And we are not taking responsibility for our own actions. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example of this. And it is a personal example. It is a recent example of somebody that has joined Fat Loss Basics. Okay. They joined back in December. Actually, they joined in November, if you want to get super honest and transparent about it, right? They joined back in November. They asked me for their macros even before the program had opened up, said, yes, okay, let's go. She is ready. She's on it. Even though she might not be ready for her macros, like she wants them. Like, okay, I'll go ahead and do that. Even before technically we're supposed to begin. Okay. This person hasn't shown up to one call. This person hasn't joined the community. This person has not done really anything, right? And this person then sent me a message upset because she is not getting the results and that this didn't work and she wants a refund essentially. And this is part of running a business. This is also part of running a business where women are required to show the fuck up for themselves, where women are expected. I expect you as a grown fucking woman to step outside your comfort zone and do something difficult and do something hard. You're not getting out of this without that, okay? So she wanted a refund because, in her words, this quote did not work. This is not for me. This did not work for me, okay? And while that may be the case, it doesn't work when you don't show up. I'm going to repeat that. It doesn't work when you don't show up. And here's what I know. Even when you hop on the fad trendy diet shit, all the fad, all the Optavia, the Weight Watchers, what happens when you stop working the programs? Because they're not sustainable, because it's too hard, because it costs too much money. What happens when you stop those programs? Guess what? It stops working. Weird, right? Okay. All I'm doing is asking you to show up for yourself. I'm not even asking you to do anything more than that. It's just literally show up. Then I have people these are my people that hop in and they take no fucking bullshit. They're like, okay, what can I do here? Okay, I'm really struggling with this. What do I do now? Okay, this seems really overwhelming. How do I make this work? Okay, those are two different people. And I'm going to tell you this. If you're going to come into my container, you're not going to fucking show up for anything. And then you're going to tell me that, well, that didn't work for me. I'm going to call you out on your bullshit. I'm going to call you out. I'm going to tell you that is not fair for you to say something didn't work when you haven't been on one call, when you haven't showed up one time, when you haven't asked one question, when you haven't responded to one email, and I know you're opening those emails. Here's the deal though. In Fat Loss Basics, there is no one-on-one. I don't coach you one-on-one. Again, very explicit on this phone call. Very explicit on this phone call that I have multiple apps because unfortunately, yay technology, I don't have millions of dollars to run my own fucking app. And there aren't apps that do all in one space what I want it to do. Okay. I just don't have that capacity. I don't have that power. And I don't want to use something that's subpar just to keep it all in one space. Okay. So my training app has a community element. It sucks. It's like a dumbed down version of Facebook. It's terrible. There's no organization. Shit would be all over the place. You can't like things. You have to respond to everything or comment. You can only reply to one comment at a time and then it goes into the regular feed. It's just very terrible. And I'm not interested in giving a fucking terrible experience to a client. Okay? But here's what I'm going to tell you. That we do not get to not show up and then say that didn't work. If you have not been consistent with something for 3 fucking months, and I'm talking consistent, I'm talking showing up even when it's not perfect, showing up even when it's hard, asking questions, though I literally had somebody the other day in the group coaching ask, I know this probably sounds like a dumb question, but ... Actually, it's not dumb at all. Actually, it's not stupid at all. Right? Because we don't know what we don't know. That doesn't make us dumb. That doesn't make us stupid. That doesn't make us anything other than fucking learning human beings. That's what that makes us. That's what it makes us. So it's very difficult for me to help somebody that can't even meet me halfway. Right? I can't, if you're not going to put your arm up for me to grab, I can't help you. I can't, and I'm not here to be your savior. Here's the other thing that I know, guys. You're a fucking grown woman, just like me. Nobody's coming. I can't save you if you can't even show up for yourself. And even when you do show up for yourself, I'm not the one doing the work or not doing the work. That is on you. My job is to guide you. My job is to keep you laser focused. My job is to get your blinders up. My job is to educate you where you're not educated, or to re-educate you on things that you think you knew or know. That is my job. That is my job. That is it. Okay. Now, on the contrary, here's another prime example of showing up for yourself, right? And how showing up for ourselves is really, really hard, and how our expectations matter. Okay. I have a one-on-one client. We've been working together since the very end of December. So we're talking just over a month at this point. And she's in her, in her check-in. She's done every check-in. She's tracked her food. She's everything I've asked her to do. Right. And today on her check-in, she literally said, along the lines of the fact that she's just not seeing any progress, and she's a little frustrated with it. She knows it's going to take time, but she's just kind of frustrated with the fact that she isn't showing the progress she wants to be. Okay. Well, this is also where I get to go back in and say, look. I was going to say listen and look. So you got lus. Look, showing up for yourself consistently is something that most women cannot do. So you're already above the pack. And again, it's prime and case in point that just because you pay somebody money doesn't mean you fucking show up for yourself. Like, people get really big mad about that, but like, it is not my job to make you show up as a fucking 40-year-old woman. Like, I'm not your motherfucking babysitter, and that's not why you paid me money. Okay. So you're showing up for yourself, which is a lot more than what most do. That's number one. Number two, actually, we're averaging down. If I were to take a trend line from her start weight to her current weight, while it's quote unquote not crazy weight loss, understand, one, we're not in a calorie deficit, and two, that we are not like hitting even any kind of sort of macros. Like, there are no targets yet. We're just getting really consistent, looking at what our food looks like, tracking our food, and now we're transitioning into target hitting. Okay. So we've gotten really good at that. This last week, she put everything in her tracking app. That was phenomenal. This was amazing. What it showed us, like I kind of had already gathered from all the photos that she had taken in her in her food journal, she's a fat eater. She likes fats. She's a high fat eater, which there's nothing wrong with. This is so good for our body. It's good for our hormones. However, calories, they are very dense in fats, right? We're talking avocados, and we are talking, I don't even know, red meat steak that we might like. We're talking peanut butter. We're talking mayonnaise. All of these things. And this is not necessarily what she eats. I'm just thinking off, my brain here. But pork sausage, regular bacon, these things are all high in fat, high in calories. And there's nothing wrong with them, right? I eat these things myself, but they are calorie packed. And so what this did was give us an idea that, one, she's actually eating more protein than I thought she was. And also, I think that she thought she was. Again, we have some egregious thing that we have to be hitting like 200 grams of protein a day, and we don't. She was averaging like 110 to 120 grams of protein, which is motherfucking solid. A couple days, she even hit a little bit above that. Okay. That's great. So now we know that you're consistently showing up. You've turned in every single check-in. You're asking questions. We know that you're a fat eater. You're basically already hitting your target for your protein. So what do? We go dump that in there. And technically, if I were to draw a plot line, you actually are losing weight, and we're not even in a calorie deficit yet. And yet to her, she's not making any progress. She's showing up, and not making any progress. This is where expectations come in. This is where your high expectation, thinking that you have to lose 27 pounds in a month, is just fucking unrealistic. It's just wild, right? And so even when we are a person that's showing up, sometimes it can be really hard to see the progress that we make. Guess what? It's another reason that we quit. It's another reason that we fall off. It's another reason that we have to get back on the horse or the wagon or whatever you fucking ride and die on. I don't know. This is the reality. So even when we have a person that's showing up, sometimes our expectations are just wild, and we think that we should be so much further along than what we are. And that's even when we show up. So imagine buying into something and then just not showing up and saying, well, that didn't work. She's not even hitting specific targets. She's not doing anything crazy. And she is seeing significant progress. Now it's tempering her expectation. Okay. And this is the reality. This is the reality. I have up to 70-year-old women in some of these containers that have multiple apps. I am very clear that my program requires you to have multiple apps. It's not even I have somebody that runs a program through fucking text message, okay? And one Instagram page. It's still multiple platforms that she's teaching on and educating through. It's more than one app. It's not just your messages app. It's also in Instagram. Okay. So again, there's not a lot of technology that allows us coaches to have one area to go. I was really hoping that this community in my training app was going to be like the bomb.com, and it's turned out to be Fizzle City. So unfortunately, it's just not something that I can do. I'm not, again, willing to give a subpar experience or miss questions or not comment on things and not serve my clients because somebody doesn't want multiple apps, even though, again, this is something that I go over on every fucking call. This wasn't news. It just was a lot. And this is the problem is that instead of saying this is a lot, this is too much, what is like one thing that I can do and focus on? It's just ghost city. It's embarrassment. It's same habits that you've always had, which is to just quit. It's too hard. I'm going to quit. If you think this process is easy, stop listening to my podcast and go find something that you think is going to be easy. I'm not going to sit here and fucking blow smoke up your ass to make you feel better about this process. It is hard. It's going to be hard. And there's nothing that you or I or anybody else can fucking do to change that. It is your responsibility to show up. It is your responsibility to meet me halfway. It is your responsibility to do things that are hard and difficult because you can. And you have somebody on the other side who literally wants nothing but for you to succeed. So it is kind of like a personal attack when somebody says, well, that didn't work. Well, you didn't do anything. You didn't show up for yourself. Now, if you'd been on every single call, you'd been on all these things and I wasn't answering your questions or trying to be helpful, hey, you know what? That's on me. That's totally on me. Okay. But when we haven't even done the very minimal of ask a question or respond to an email, and then you get to say that didn't work. Well, you know what? That makes you feel better about spending money on, again, another thing. And then it just solidifies your own internal belief of, see, it's not for me. See, I'm just going to be this way. And then we get to live that life of poor me. I couldn't do it. See, this is just how I am. See, I am broken. I'm just going to stay this way forever. I don't deserve anything else. Womp, 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 as my children say. Womp, womp. It gives us permission to do those things, right? This last week, I always talk about this mindset thing that I do, that experience that I'm in, right? And something that I learned this last couple of days is I love using chaos as an excuse to stay stuck. I love it. It's like I grew up in a chaotic home. I lived a chaotic life. I had to get louder to be heard. You know, something my husband always has to remind my children is like, Mom's not yelling. She's just loud. She's just loud. I'm a loud fucking person because I wasn't heard if I wasn't loud. I was talked over. I was talked down to. I was whatever. That is the reality of our family. So I thrive in chaos. It's what feels good to me, even though it's very chaotic. And I get to use it as an excuse, right? This last week was a very chaotic week. I mentioned the very beginning of this. It was hard. It was heavy. It was crazy. And you want to know what? It gave me every reason not to show up for myself. It gave me every reason to say, well, there's just so much going on. It's just so chaotic. I can't do that. I love chaos because it allows me to stay stuck, because that familiar hell is far more better for me, my body thinks, than fucking standing outside of that and going, you know what? I don't need the chaos actually to thrive. I just need to stop. I don't live in that space. So now it's like, why don't I live in that space? And instead of getting upset about myself for being this way, it's like, why am I this way? And how do I go around fixing it? Right? This is the same thing that this person could potentially work through themselves. Man, she's not wrong. I didn't show up one time. I didn't ask one question. Damn, that is on me. Take responsibility for your shit. You're a fucking grown woman. Everybody here is a grown woman. Everybody that's listening to this podcast is a grown damn woman. What are you not taking responsibility for in your life? Please, I'd love to know. Stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. Stop thriving off of everybody else's bullshit. Stop allowing other people to be the reason that you continue to stay stuck, and do it differently. And get curious about why. Why do I do this? Why do I not show up? Why do I ghost people? Why do I not meet people halfway when they're trying to help me? Why do I buy into things and then not complete them? Why do I do this? Why do I keep chasing the fad diets? Why do I do all these? Like, get curious with yourself. Understand, why am I doing this? I don't even like it. It doesn't even feel good. But yet here I am. And that was my coming to Jesus moment this last week, like yesterday. It's like, man, I love chaos. I thrive in chaos because that's all I ever knew as a kid. Our door in our house is a revolving door. I had siblings who were 9 years older than me. There were things happening in my home I didn't even understand growing up. Like, I had no fucking idea what was going on in life. I just went with the flow. And that has led me to constantly need control, because without control, it's chaos. I don't like chaos, even though I thrive in it, even though it's like what I know. It's where my comfort zone is. It's why I'm so fucking controlling with shit. Anyway, so that's my own revelation. It has nothing to do with you really, but I'm trying to get you guys to see a multitude of reasons as to why women don't do a great job showing up for themselves. And even when we do, sometimes we don't even give ourselves the credit that we owe ourselves to saying, hey, yeah, I showed up. Something I'm doing in group coaching right now is really focusing on the small wins. And I think I'm going to start doing this within my own one-on-one community, because I don't feel like we do this enough. And this was a conversation in one of my group coaching trainings, was the fact that we do not give ourselves enough fucking credit. All these little tiny wins that we do, all these little stupid things that we think are so stupid, and they're not stupid. Okay, I drank like 20 more ounces of water today. Go me. Yeah, go fucking you. Is that 20 more than normal? Great job. You showed the fuck up for yourself today. Good job. Okay, so this is where I'm trying to come from. This is what I'm trying to get you guys to see. You have to show up for yourself. You have to be willing to put your big girl pants on and fucking get out there and do the thing. And raising your hand and buying into a container isn't enough. What you do once you arrive there is the question. I'm in a business coaching container. Do you think that I buy into a business coaching container and then don't show up to the calls, don't go into the community that we have, which, by the way, again, multiple platforms, right? Do you think I don't do those things and then go tell this coach, man, I'm just really not getting anything from this yet. It didn't work for me. She would look at me and be like, fuck you. That's what happens when you don't fucking show up. That's why your business is where it is. I can't expect a change if I'm not willing to put in effort to get it. So some of y'all need to redo your expectations. Some of you need to give yourself credit. Give yourself more credit for what you are doing. Like, we have these two opposite ends of the spectrum. So, that being said, Fat Loss Basics group coaching. There's going to be a little bit of a shift in it. It's going to look a little bit different price-wise. So if you're interested in that, I would say by mid to end of February, that pricing is going to go up. It's going to increase into just a very static, stable price versus what it's at right now, which is still kind of in that beginning shift. So if you're interested in it, please let me know. Let's get you in. And again, please start showing up for yourself. Even if you don't join in any of my containers, what can you do today to start fucking showing up for yourself? And if you already are showing up and you're trying and you are taking action and you're doing something, fucking stop, breathe, pat yourself on the back and say, I'm a bad motherfucking bitch because I'm trying. And that's all you got to do is just fucking try. So I hope you guys have a great hump day. Every day is a great day for a hump. And I will catch you on the next episode.